Let's get it. I got a couple words I want to say to you today. You got this. The question is, do you believe that you have this? That's the real question, because I could believe it all day. The rest of the world could believe it. But if you don't believe it, then it doesn't matter. So I'm going to start by playing one of these songs off the Gangsta album Mentality. Off the Gangsta Mentality album. And it's called Believe in You. Because without the power of belief, nothing happens. So we're going to start there while we're waiting on a few people to join. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. So here you go. And remember, when you listen to this music, you know, we got enough entertainment in the world. We can be entertained all the time. This is not entertainment. Oops, see? This is actually a message to the soul. This is soul music. We got to feed our soul. So often we feed our body, but what are we actually doing to feed our spirit, to feed our energy? So here we go with this song, Believe in You. And listen, if you got small kids, I really advise that you let them hear this positive music so they can some positive words can seep down into their subconscious mind early in the morning and before they go to bed at night. Okay, here we go. The power of belief.
It's to believe in yourself. Remember, it's done unto you as you believe. You have to believe that your life has purpose, that your life has meaning. Believing in yourself will give you the confidence to face all the fears and failures.
What up, April?
You will encounter on this journey of life.
Hey, all you gotta do,
Believe in you. Believe in you.
you
were
are.
born for greatness.
Do you believe it?
All you gotta do is believe in you.
Believe in you.
You were born for greatness. Believe in you. Believe in you. You've got to create a dream. You've got to believe that you can accomplish that dream. You got to establish goals, and you have got to go for it. You have got to aim high. You have got to always keep the faith.
Oh, yeah.
And believe. Believe in you. Believe. Believe in the infinite power that resides within you. Believe in the infinite power that created you. Believe. Knowledge of self will give you the belief you need to keep going through all your trials and tribulations.
Hey.
Believe.
All you gotta do is believe in you.
Believe in you. Believe in you.
You were born for greatness.
Believe in you. Believe in you.
All you gotta do is believe in you.
Believe in you. Believe in you.
You were born for greatness.
Believe in you. Believe in you. All you gotta do is believe in you. Believe in you. Believe in you.
You were born for greatness.
Believe in you. Believe in you. All you gotta do is believe in you.
Believe in you. Believe in you.
You were born for greatness. Believe in you. Believe in you. Know thyself. The secret to life is knowing who you are. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't.
Guess
Either
what?
way, you're right. So believe you can. Believe in the infinite power that resides inside of you. It's your birthright to live in abundance. Believe in you. Believe you can always. All you have to do is believe in you. All you gotta do is believe in you. Believe in you. Believe in you. You were born for greatness. Believe in you. Believe in you. All you gotta do is believe in you. Believe in you. Believe in you. You were born for greatness. Believe in you. Believe in you.
All you gotta do is believe in you.
Believe in you.
Believe in you. You were born for greatness.
Believe in you. Believe in you. All you gotta do is believe in you.
Believe in you. Believe in you.
You were born for greatness. Believe in you. Believe in you. I love this quote by Marianne Williams. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually,
Who are you not to be?
and you are greatness. It's your birthright. All you have to do is believe.
All you gotta do is believe in you.
Believe in you. Believe in you.
You were born for greatness.
Believe in you. Believe in you. All you gotta do is believe in you. Believe in you. Believe in you.
You were born for greatness.
Believe in you. Believe in you. All you gotta do is believe in you. Believe in you. Believe in you. You were born for greatness. Believe in you. Believe in you. All you gotta do is believe in you. Believe in you. Believe in you. You were born for greatness. Believe in you. Believe in you. Can you look in the mirror and believe in you when everybody else tells you you're not good enough? Because the world won't believe it until you believe it. And guess what? All you gotta do is believe in you.
So the question is, do you believe? That's the real question. And remember this, the universe is a mirror and it reflects back to you the beliefs about yourself. If you believe that you're not quite good enough, then the conditions around you will show you that you're not quite good enough, because it starts with you. As within, so without. A lot of time what we look for is outside validation for us to believe in ourselves. We want other people to believe in us more than we believe in ourselves. But our belief shows up in our self-confidence. Our belief shows up in the way that we actually take risks and we actually take chances on following our dreams. That's how our belief shows up in our life. So the question is, do you believe that you're good enough? Because a lot of us have problems believing that we're worthy and maybe we don't deserve certain things. And if you believe that, then the universe is going to say, oh, well, if you don't deserve it, you don't get it. You can't get anything that you don't believe you're worthy enough for. So the first thing what you got to do is know your worth. Know that you are a part of creation. And therefore, by you being here, you are enough. The world would lose something if it wasn't for you. There's something that only you can give to the world. And that's the thing that you got. That's the place that you got to operate from, and know that we don't have to all be alike. Our power actually comes in our uniqueness, because we're all different and we can all bring something different to the table. So let's embrace the power of us being different, of the different life experiences that we have. So now that we can give that to the whole, we are all a part of the whole. And if you're looking for some worth, that's where your worth comes from. And it was a 1 in 400 trillion chance that you would even be born today. The fact that you are here, you are a miracle. You are a walking miracle. And it's time for you to start behaving like one and acting like one and getting the miracles that are actually due to you. So before we start, let's set our intentions. Let's set our intentions for what we want to get for this time that we're spending together. It's my hope that I can deliver a message to actually change the way you look at yourself and look at the world. And this is the beginning of a whole new life for you. Why? Because you're beginning to change the way you think. And as you change the way you think, everything around you changes. Now, if you do what you've been doing, you get what you've been getting. The question is, do you really want some different results? And if you want different results, then guess what? You have to do things different. Just like I said, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to get what you've been getting. So if you are okay with the outcomes that you have, pay me no mind. Keep doing what you do. But if you truly want to change in your life, then you got to look in the mirror and you got to ask yourself, how bad do I really want things to change? And to the degree that I am willing to change, that's how everything around me will begin to change. So let's just set our intentions, for what we want for the week. And then before we start, let's just say thank you. Let's have an attitude of gratitude. We all talk about getting our daily vitamin C, but we have to have that daily vitamin G, that gratitude. We have to stop and be in a state of appreciation always. Even for the things that we've been through that we felt like were not so good. But they actually, when we look back on it, they actually helped us develop into the people that we are becoming. Because remember, we're always growing. We're always changing. So that's what we want to do. We just want to say thank you and set our intentions and actually stay in an attitude of gratitude. So I want to do a quick meditation. And this is called speaking the right words. And a lot of times we say things to people, we say things to ourselves, and we think that it doesn't matter because these are just words. But I want to challenge you to start to become conscious of every word that comes out your mouth, because these words actually do matter. These words are actually building the world that you live in, one word at a time. So here we go for this meditation. 72 names of God. Sorry, my book is a little... But here we go. Speaking the right words. Did you ever say something you deeply regretted and found yourself paying for it dearly many years later? Words can wound others, but they can also imbue us with blessings and transform our very reality. Insight. Words have power. They ignite spiritual forces that influence the events and circumstances of our lives. For instance, Kabbalah says that slanderous gossip actually increases airborne disease in our world. Defaming a person's character absolutely inflicts spiritual and physical harm against the intended victim and against the person voicing the words. However, because of free will, these truths are concealed from our rational minds by an innate, egotistical, narrow-mindedness towards all things metaphysical. Thus, it's easy for us to disregard and dismiss the power and influence of a spoken word, along with it, the responsibility. Our words either emerge from our ego or from the light. When we allow the light to talk on our behalf, our speech fills others with hope, blessings, love, and inspiration. According to Kabbalah, we come into this world with a predetermined number of negative words that we are allowed to utter. When this atonement is used up, death overcomes us. Imagine if we spoke positive words of light. Silence your ego. Push the mute button. Now call upon the light to speak on your behalf on all occasions so that every word elevates your soul and all existence. Here we go. Speaking the right words. I silence my ego and restrict. I will not defame others, gossip, or say hurtful things. I am quiet as I connect to the light and allow the divine to be my guide, to speak through me. As I channel the light, I speak words of light, love, hope, and positive energy. My words will elevate my soul and the soul of others instead of bringing me and others down. How many times when we was younger did they tell us, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all? We used to hear that so much, right? Not understanding that that was for our own benefit, not for anybody else, because we the only thinkers in our world. So whenever we speak, we actually change the biochemistry of our own brain. So all the things that we speak and say actually has a direct effect on us. So that's why they told us, don't say anything unless you have something good to say. Remember they said, remember abracadabra? It was magic, right? Abracadabra. You know what abracadabra means? I create as I speak. So what they're telling us is every time that we speak, we're actually creating. And I guess that's why the scripture told us every idle word that I speak shall not come back to me void, but it shall prosper in that I send it in. And you know, it's funny when I look at, let's say, the New Testament, when I look at the Old Testament, when I look at Kabbalah, it's all basically saying the very same thing, maybe in a different terminology. Kabbalah says that every time we speak, we create negative and positive angels. So basically it's telling us each word is creating something negative or positive that's going to help us or either destroy us. And that's the exact same thing the scripture says. The scripture told us so many times, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And those who love to talk will eat its fruits. Fruits because it actually produces something when we speak. But we've been taught our words don't matter. We've been taught we can sing any song we want. We can say anything that we want and it doesn't matter. But when they told us in the beginning there was the word and the word was God and God became the word, it was just telling us that our words are creative. Our words are creative. What is God? God is a creator. So it was just telling us that our words are creative, real simple. But what we do is we talk and we say whatever that we want to say, and it doesn't matter. We talk about we're not good enough. Not understanding our subconscious mind records everything that we say, and it doesn't take a joke. So when you say you're not good enough, then guess what? You're not good enough. But you decreed it. You said it. You spoke it on yourself. Think about the people that you know and begin to think about the way some of them talk. And see how you see the way they talk manifest in their life. Just because we say it and it doesn't happen right then, it doesn't mean that these words don't have power. It just means that you're so busy and so distracted when you get down the road, whether it's 2 months, 2 years, 8 months or whatever, and these words come back, you start to say, why is this stuff happening to me? What's going on? Not understanding all the things that you have said previously. So just let's get back to the Proverbs. The power of the tongue is life and death. Those who love to talk will eat what it produces. This right here says, Proverbs 20:25 says, anxiety weighs down the heart of a man, but a good word cheers it up. So when I think about that right there, I start to think about the Buddha when he said, every man is the author of his or her own health, right? So let's get to the science of all of this. So right here, I want to give you a few facts. I got a paper in front of me that talks about how words change our brain. So we just been talking about on a metaphysical level, how words change, and the scriptures and the ancient wisdom has told us this for thousands of years. But of course we don't listen, but we love science, right? So let's see what science says about this very same thing. So according to MD Andrew Newberg, words can change the brain. So they say positive words such as peace and love actually alter the expression of genes, promoting the brain's cognitive function. They propel the motivation centers of the brain into action. Okay, so speaking positive words like love and compassion, peace and love can actually help motivate you to take action. Conversely, hostile language can disrupt specific genes that play a part in the production of neurochemicals that protect us from stress. What does that say? Basically, when you speak negative, you can begin to get sick. There's actually chemical processes that are interrupted. And those chemical processes actually protect us from stress. So right now, scripture and science and the Buddha, Old Testament, New Testament, Kabbalah, it all says the same thing. But instead of us listening, what we rather do is fight about who's right, who's wrong, and take sides. Not understanding that we're perpetuating the same thing that human beings have been going through since the beginning of time, and we find ourselves in the situation that we're in. Humans are hardwired to worry. Do you understand that? Your brain job is to keep you alive. So your brain is constantly looking for threats. The problem is this. Our brain hasn't changed much in over the last 200,000 years. The world that we live in, the external world that we live in, has significantly changed. So now we live in a world that's so fast paced and there's so much stimuli, and our brains were not designed for this world that we live in. That becomes the big problem. So before we can do anything about the problem, we got to create awareness of the problem. So listen, part of our primal brains protecting us from threats to our survival. So naturally our thoughts go there first. All right. So the first thing the brain is concerned about is survival. And that's where the thoughts go to first. So you're going to always get a lot of these negative thoughts. And today, these negative thoughts gonna manifest as who doesn't like you, maybe what type of comments people left on social media, because the brain has to find something to worry about. So since we understand this and we start to get these negative thoughts, now we can invoke certain tools. One that's free, that can be used anywhere, is the power of our breath. The power of our breath to disconnect us from our lower brain to our higher brain, because the higher brain is where we deal with reason and logic and high level thinking. All of that's processed by the higher brain. But whenever we're in a state of stress and negativity and fear, then what takes over? It's the lower brain. So we need to understand that so we can begin to put in these different hacks. So we can, as a society, begin to move forward, and we can take the thing that's between our ears, our brain, we can actually begin to have that work for us and not against us. So let me give you a couple more facts while we're talking about just words and negativity. A single negative word can increase the activity in our amygdala, which is the fear center of the brain. This releases dozens of stress-producing hormones and neurotransmitters, which in turn interrupts our brain's functioning. This is especially with regard to logic, reason, and language. So why do you think when you're upset, you can't think straight? Why do you think when you're upset, you do something, and when you look back on it, you're like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Because you literally shut down the part of your brain that deals with reason and logic. And when you start to understand these small things about your brain and you look into the world, then you'll understand why there's always something for you to be fearful of. You'll understand why they always want you to be afraid. You'll understand why they always want you to fight each other. They don't matter what you fight each other about, long as you're fighting each other and you're separated. That's the whole goal. So this is not a conspiracy theory or none of that. This is straight up facts about your brain and the way it works. And then you look into the world and you making a judgment and assessment for yourself. So listen, if I were to put you into an MRI scanner and flash the word no for less than 1 second, you'd see a sudden release of dozens of stress-producing hormones and neurotransmitters. These chemicals immediately interrupt the normal function of your brain, impairing logic, reason, language processing, and communication. In fact, just seeing a list of negative words for a few seconds will make you highly anxious or depressed, or the depressed person feel worse. And the more you ruminate on them, the more you actually damage key structures that regulate your memory, your feelings, and your emotions. You'll disrupt your sleep and your appetite and your ability to experience long-term happiness and satisfaction. And guess what? If you vocalize this negativity or even slightly frown when you say the word no, guess what happens? More stress chemicals will be released, not only in your brain, but in the listener's brain as well. The listener will experience increased anxiety and irritability, thus undermining cooperation and trust. In fact, just hanging around negative people will make you more prejudiced towards others. So if that's not enough to get you not to listen to gossip, when people want to have a pity party and they just want to spew all this negativity and you think, okay, this is my friend, so let me sit here and listen. Well, scientifically, not HK, I'm just the messenger. Scientifically, what you're doing is you're releasing dozens of stress chemicals in your brain just by listening to this foolishness. So the question is, at what point are you going to begin to protect your energy? And what point are you going to begin to cut off the negative, toxic people around you, even if you call them friends or even if you call them family? It doesn't matter. At some point, you have to begin to put you first, your own health and well-being. And the fact is, being around negative people just not going to do it for you. So I'm going to give you a few more facts before we go. Any form of negative rumination, for example, worrying about your financial future or your health, will stimulate the release of destructive neurochemicals. So when you begin to look at what's going on inside of your body and you begin to look at the scriptures, it all start to make sense. Because they told us, how much can you add to your life by worrying at all? Told us so many times to get rid of all bitterness, passionateness, and anger. No more shouting or insults. No more hateful feelings of any sort. Remember they told us we war not with flesh and blood against each other. They find a reason to pit us against each other. We war not with flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the dark of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That just means they know who you are. They know how you work on a biological level. And then they take that knowledge and they use it against you. They use it to keep you fearful, to keep you stuck, to keep you complaining, to keep you in the same place, to keep you fighting. And then you never really understand the power that each of us have individually. And then imagine if we all came together with that power, what we could do. We can create a whole new world. We don't have to change this world that we live in. We can create a whole new shift. But it's going to start with each one of us, and we're going to have to begin to start thinking different. All right, so let me say this for the kids. Anybody out there got kids? The same holds true for the children. The more negative thoughts they have, the more likely they are to experience emotional turmoil. But if you teach them to think positively, you can turn their lives around. That's why HK just told you. Listen, man, if you got some kids, make sure they listen to the gangster mentality. Why? Because you want to plant positive seeds in their mind. We understand when they turn on the TV, it's not going to be a whole lot of positivity. We understand when they listen to music, it's not going to be a whole lot of positivity. We understand the brain is inclined to worry. We understand that for each negative thought, we need about 3 positive thoughts to negate that. So the question is this: when are they getting the positivity? Where is it coming from? Because everybody's so focused on what's going on and talking about the moment and what they don't have and how things could be better. We start to look at the kids, what we have. Suicide rates at an all-time high. We have depression on the rise. The question is, what are we going to do? That's the question. And it all starts with the words that we speak. It all talks with the way that we speak to them. Are we giving them something positive to look forward to? Are we planting positive seeds in their mind? And the seed equals the thought. The thought will grow up later. So if you keep planting all these positive seeds in their mind, then later on, what the kids is going to hear is your voice when they're out into the world and people telling them that they're not good enough and they don't have what it takes. They're going to understand, no, mommy said this, daddy said that. They planted these seeds in my mind. That's why it's so important that we stay on the gratitude every day and we make the kids tell us, what are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? One thought at a time, we can change this. But to think that we can change without changing the way we think, we're going to be in for a rude awakening. Okay? So like I said, these are a few facts that I wanted to give you. Negative thinking is also self-perpetuating. The more you engage in negative dialogue at home or at work, the more difficult it becomes to stop. But the negative words that are spoken with anger, they do even more damage. They send alarm messages through the brain, interfering with the decision-making centers in the frontal lobe. This increases a person's propensity to act irrational. And then we got these fear-provoking words: poverty, illness, and death. But guess what? They also stimulate the brain in negative ways. And even if these fearful thoughts are not real, other parts of the brain, like the thalamus and the amygdala, react to negative fantasies as though they were actual threats occurring in the outside world. Because remember, we are hardwired to worry. Perhaps it's an old memories carried by ancestral times when there was countless threats to our survival. But the fact of the matter is, if we use these words like poverty and illness and death, it stimulates the brain in negative ways. And let's remember this: nothing can happen to you that doesn't happen in the brain first. You need two neurons to connect. Okay? That's how we create these neural networks in our brain. So if we want to change, we have to actually change our brain first. And the good things is our brains is plasticity, neuroplasticity, meaning we can actually change our brains. We can actually rewire our brain. But first we need to understand that we can do it. Then we need to understand how to do it. And then we need to understand that the process to do it is not going to happen overnight, because you've been thinking this way for so long. It's like you leaving your house and you're going to, excuse me, let's say you're going to the grocery store, you're going to a certain route every day. It becomes hardwired in you. You know, you leave the house, you could be on the phone, you could be thinking about things, you're not even paying attention, and bam, you end up, let's say, at the grocery store where you're going. How did you get there? Your subconscious mind drove it. You already had those neural networks in the brain. So when you get ready to leave your house and you want to go an opposite way, what do you have to do? You have to be present. You have to be conscious. Your thoughts has to be right here on what you're doing right now in order for you to change. And then it's going to take time, because you got to do it over and over and over and over again so you can create that new neural network in your brain. Okay? So we got to remember this. The brain barely responds to positive words and thoughts. Why? Because they're not a threat to our survival. And we already understand is the brain job is to keep you alive. So it's worrying about your survival. So it's not a threat to the survival. So the brain does not need to respond as rapidly as it does to negative thoughts and words. So when you want to say, why do we live in such a negative world? Because that's what people respond to. Why is the news so negative? It'll get your attention. That's what you respond to. But understanding this is the beginning of change. To overcome this, we must repetitiously and consciously generate as many positive thoughts as we can. I guess that's why the scripture told us when we wake in the morning, say, hey, thank you. This is the day the Lord, which is the law, had made, because the law doesn't change. I shall be thankful for it and rejoice in it. And what I should do is already set my intentions for the day. I should let my words travel before me and say, thank you for today. This is a great day. I should do all of that first. And it's eerie to me how everything aligns. Everything aligns with the way the brain works, the way the body works, all of that. Like we can't take the scripture and separate it. No, we got to figure out what's the common thread in all of this, and what is the message here, and what is it really trying to teach me, instead of us being so emotional when it comes to things like this. And no, we want to argue and we're right and they're wrong and this and that, not understanding that anytime it's us versus them, what are we doing? Again, we're using the lower brain. And let me let you know this, the lower brain, when we talk about the reptilian brain and the limbic brain, it can be known as the animal brain. That's what the lower brain is. So if we want to act like animals, then yes, fine. Continue doing what we're doing. Use our lower brain. If we want to be at disagreements with each other and argue and fight, that's fine. All I'm saying is when we do this, we're using our lower brain. So if we want to be humans, then we want to use the neocortex. We want to begin to think totally different. Okay, so here you go. Choose your words wisely and speak them slowly. This will allow you to interrupt the brain's propensity to be negative. The mere repetition of positive words like love, peace, and compassion will turn on specific genes that will lower your physical and emotional stress. Okay? You know, you can just speak your way happiness to happiness. You feel better. You live longer. You build deeper and more trusting relationship with others at home and at work. Okay? So by holding a positive and optimistic word in your mind, you stimulate frontal lobe activity. This area includes specific language centers that connect directly to the motor cortex, responsibly for moving you into action. A lot of times you feel lethargic. You know what you need to do. You just don't have the energy to do it. You got to begin to speak these positive words. These affirmations are real. And the longer you concentrate on positive words, the more you will begin to affect other areas of your brain. Okay? A positive view of yourself will bias you towards seeing the good in others. Whereas a negative self-image will include suspicion and doubt toward other people. Okay? So here we go. So it's all about the words that we speak. It's all about us having, you know, the belief in ourselves. And it's all about growth and change. Changing the way we think, changing the way we view the world, changing the way we view ourselves. So what I'm going to do, I'm having a little technical difficulties. Just play one more song off this album, Gangsta Mentality. So we can plant a few more positive seeds in your mind. Okay, here we go. One more song. This one here is called Dirt Road to Rodeo. Okay? And when you hear Dirt Road to Rodeo, I want you to think growth. I want you to think change. Of course, we're not talking about the physical journey of going from Eastern North Carolina to Los Angeles, California. We're talking about the mental journey that we had to take first, going from a victim consciousness to a growth consciousness, growing from changing the way I looked at myself. And that's what this whole thing is about. We all have a dirt road. We all have something that we need to overcome, and getting to the rodeo is like the end of the journey, symbolic. So this is all symbolic. Dirt road to rodeo is basically, like I said before, going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's time to become somebody totally different. Okay? Hence, dirt road to rodeo. It's like alchemy. You got to go through the fire. You got to come out different on the other side. People won't even know who you are. Dirt road to rodeo.
From the dirt road to rodeo.
Out the mud. Self-made.
A man that was never a boy. I grew up picking blueberries, $1.50 a bucket.
Single parent mom
In a house
with no running water. We all got a dirt road. As a child, I was scarred. That's why I go so hard. Get it all. We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind. Dirt road. Dirt road without jail. Young boy using his mind. Dirt road to rodeo. Dirt road to rodeo. Dirt road to rodeo. Did it all without jail. We ain't doing no time. Young boy never had a dime. No food in the house. I only had my mind. I'm from the bottom of the borough. Brother doing time, being poor around here. Out the mud for real, so I stayed on my grind. Schooled by the streets, I took an oath I never tell. Manifesting like a wizard with a spell. HK the educator.
knowledge for your soul.
Mess around with me, we turning dirt into gold. Dirt road to rodeo.
Did it all without jail.
We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind. Dirt road to
Rodeo.
dirt road to
Rodeo.
dirt road to rodeo.
Dirt road to rodeo.
Dirt road to rodeo. Did it all without jail. We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind. Since a young boy had the streets on lock, never knew my dad had to beat my pops. I'm here, now ain't nothing they can do. Going hard for my little brother poop. Shot in the head at the age of 13 before his time. Certain things I'm gonna win, cause he can't lose. My daddy left me, chose the booze.
He rather drink than raise his sons.
Now we all lost.
For drugs and guns.
By the grace of God, they didn't get me. Rid of my car with shots.
No bullets hit me.
Did it all without jail. We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind. Dirt road to rodeo.
Did it all without jail.
We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind. Dirt road to rodeo. Dirt road to rodeo. Dirt road to rodeo.
Dirt Dirt road to Rodeo. Dirt road to Rodeo. Did it all without yayo. We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind. Moved to Beverly Hills and put myself on the map. All I kick is truth. All my words, no cap. Hold your applause. I need no props. My team stay ready. We ain't thinking about the ops. I do what I want. I never ask permission. Battling HK. You in a messed up position. Play the game how it go. You can never catch me.
Guess what? I am making something out of nothing.
Dirt road to Rodeo. Did it all without yayo. We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind. Dirt road to Rodeo. Did it all without yayo. We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind. Dirt road to Rodeo. 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 Did it all without yayo. We ain't doing no time. Young boy using his mind.
So remember, the words really matter. And if nothing else, think about this. You are made up of trillions of cells, right? These cells are actually living entities. These cells actually listen to the way you think about yourself and the things you say about yourself. And that's where they actually take their commands from. So remember, you are God to the world within. So behave like it. And it's time to get back to the basics. It's time to get back to love. Loving everybody and everything. And then the simple things: water, sun, exercise, gratitude, good sleep at night. Those are the things that are actually going to begin to change our world. All right. Wish you nothing but love, happiness, joy, and peace this week. And I see you next Sunday. We'll check in. Have a great week.